All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is a public hearing on the FY 2022 draft budget for Auburn Public Schools. This public hearing of the Town of Auburn School Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, which suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, during the current state of emergency, all members of public school bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded, so that the public can follow along with deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will allow for public comment under Agenda Item 3, Public Comment. For the public to join the meeting remotely by telephone, dial 1-646-558-8656 and use access code 425188. Or the public can join via computer using the link posted on the agenda on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. The governor's order, along with all supporting materials that have been provided to members of this body, is available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. As a preliminary matter, this is George Scobie, Chair of the Auburn School Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Call each school committee member's name. Okay. School personnel and attendants, if applicable, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Okay. Jesse Harrington.
Yes.
Dorothy Kaufman.
Yes.
I'm just going to go right down the list here. Dr. Casey Hanfield.
Yes.
Cecilia Worsbicky.
Yes.
Eric Bouvier.
Yes.
Gail Holloway.
Yes.
Jennifer Stanek.
Yes.
Joe Fahey.
Yes.
Rosemary Reedy.
Yes.
Dr. Susan Lopez.
Yes.
Cecilia Worsbicky, did I already say that one? Yes, I did. Okay, I don't know why they're jumbling on me.
It's okay.
This is something new. Okay. Gary Prey.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Daniel DeLongchamp.
Yes.
Dr. Chamberlain.
Yes.
Greg Desto.
Yes.
Rosemary Reedy.
Yes.
Dr. McCrillis.
Yes.
Is there anyone's name who I did not call at this meeting?
No.
Would you please state your name?
Matthew Carlson.
Sorry, Mr. Carlson.
No problem.
Who else?
Marie Mahan.
I'm sorry, Marie.
That's okay.
I have no idea why this list is just moving all over the place. I don't know if it's the computer or Zoom. But, okay, we've got that over with.
Mr. Scobie, it seems like we have one more attendee named beginning with John.
I believe it's Mr. Generelli, who just joined the meeting.
Okay. Mr. Generelli, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, thank you, sir. Just doing a roll call here. As required by law. Okay, please note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. Accordingly, all members of this meeting who will participate, please be aware that other people may be able to see you, and please take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Also, please note that each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. During this meeting, I ask that each speaker state their name before each presentation, comment, or question. Now, moving on, are there any citizens' comments? Seeing none, we will move on to the superintendent's report. Dr. Hanfield?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As outlined in the agenda, the primary focus of this evening's meeting is to have a public hearing on the FY 2022 school budget. So if a motion could be made to that effect, we can begin.
I would entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
And you are?
Jesse Harrington.
Thank you, Mrs. Harrington. Do I have a second?
Gail Holloway, second it.
Thank you, Mrs. Holloway. Roll call vote. Mrs. Harrington? Mrs. Harrington?
Oh, sorry, I lost you. I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
We're doing a roll call vote.
Oh, yes. Or here,
Okay.
whatever.
Mrs. Holloway?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaufman?
Yes.
Dr. McCrillis? And Mr. Scobie? Yes, it is a vote. The hearing is now open.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to everyone who may be watching this live and who will be watching this later. Welcome, Mr. Prey and Mr. Generelli. We're pleased to have you as members of the Auburn community join us this evening. As we've done a few times now, via school committee meeting and most recently at our finance committee meeting a few weeks ago, we'll be presenting an overview of the fiscal year 2022 budget. As noted in my message on our district webpage and to town meeting members, the complete budget and complete school committee slide presentation as we were deliberating over this budget are available on our website. And so folks have been encouraged to go there to see the entire presentation. Due to the nature of this being a Zoom presentation and being mindful of connectivity issues and time, what will be presented tonight will be an abridged version, but we'll hit the salient points. So as we've come to always start doing here in the Auburn Public Schools, we base all of our budgets off of our mission, vision, and core values. Our mission in the Auburn Public Schools is to strengthen connections through rigor, relevance, and relationships. And our vision as a school district is to educate and prepare students for the opportunities and challenges of a changing world. All of this predicated upon our core values, which include student-centered decision-making, all of our environments being safe and respectful, providing equitable, inclusive opportunities for all of our students, maintaining high expectations, responding to needs based on data, and being a district that is dedicated to continuous improvement. This budget reflects the district's strategic plan adopted by the Auburn School Committee in the spring of 2018. Pictured there are people that joined us throughout the community to talk about the Auburn Public Schools, help us set a course, and what resulted from that was the strategic plan that I'm speaking of currently. Within the strategic plan of the Auburn Public Schools, there are 5 key areas: teaching and learning, technology, health, wellness, and safety, transitions, and community partnerships. This budget's been built and is predicated upon providing our children with the best educational opportunities possible at all times, whether we are in a pandemic or not. It's also predicated upon maintaining the high standards and achievement of the school district while continuing to be a highly sought after community, in part because of our school system. Looking at the first priority, teaching and learning, in keeping with school committee expectations, this budget reflects class sizes that are at or below 25 students per class at the elementary level, while maintaining appropriate class sizes at both the middle and the high school level. As you can see in the slide here, from kindergarten through grade 12, we have anticipated class sizes. As also part of our teaching and learning initiative within the strategic plan, we talk about technology a lot. We are fortunate that we're able to fund some of this through our CIP, our operating budget, school choice, and grant funds. And this budget continues to maintain our one-to-one iPad initiative we currently have in place, but it also offers expansion. Previously, we were 6 through 12 one-to-one district. Starting in the fall, we will be a K-12 one-to-one district, and we're very proud of that. We will continue to develop asynchronous and synchronous learning opportunities as we move into fiscal year 22, and we will continue to maintain our infrastructure so that our technology can work as it should. Also, under teaching and learning, professional development, we are dedicated as a faculty and staff to being lifelong learners in order to evolve with the changing nature of our field, and that means keeping up on educational trends and student needs. There are ample funds included to support dynamic professional development opportunities for all of our faculty and staff, and to build capacity in-house to further our knowledge and skills. Some of the professional development opportunities that will be focused on beginning in the fall: diversity, equity, inclusion, social and emotional learning, and universal design for learning. Under student achievement, we're dedicated to continuous improvement and educational excellence, as I've already stated. And we want to make sure that our students are prepared to conquer the opportunities they will face as adults upon leaving Auburn High School. So with that said, some of our focal points are continuing to promote preschool for our town's youngest children. That reduces or removes financial barriers to education. Continuing to provide academic, vocational, technical, and soft skill training and options for our PK to 16 students for post-high school success. The continuation of beyond the school day and beyond the school year opportunities for all students to excel, including enrichment activities, acceleration activities, and advanced programming. And we're also committed to meeting the needs of our children who need us longer than grade 12, such as the Encore program for students that for 18 to 22 years of age that is currently housed at the school administration building on 5 West Street. Health, wellness, and safety is another one of our priorities in the strategic plan. The safety of our students is paramount, and therefore maintaining an environment within which our students and staff can work, learn, and grow is a top priority. In addition to academics, we are supporting the emotional needs of both our teachers and students. We continue to demonstrate a commitment to a strong and stable nursing corps within the Auburn Public Schools. We're committed to providing ABA and IA support for our students who have unique challenges so that they may achieve at their highest levels. There are funds in this budget that are proactive to keep our buildings safe and respond to potential threats. We provide students with safe co-curricular activities to promote physical and social health and wellness. And we maintain a focus on providing healthy and nutritious meals to our students and families through our Meals to Go program, which has been wildly successful, as well as the EBT program that's been sponsored by the government and state and has been operated through our food services program under the direction of Janice King. Transitions is another area that we've talked about within our strategic plan. We feel it's imperative that our students and families have the opportunity to adapt to new surroundings so they can feel safe and comfortable, and so that they can be at their very best and ready to achieve. Some of the items here that we have in place are introductions to new faces and places, PK to 12. We have conducted and will continue to conduct Zoom transition activities to start school years. We have also done socially distanced transition activities at the end of trimesters, especially for students who have been coming back from remote placements for 1 trimester or 2 trimesters or longer. We also have programming for parents and caregivers to help invite and help ease their transitions for their children coming back to school. Our administrators who are with us tonight have done a marvelous job giving their personal time to help families and students transition into school. We will continue to offer transition programs at the end of the school year, and we will continue transition activities through the summertime as we prepare for a full fall return, especially for students who are still remote for the balance of this school year. And of course, we're always welcoming our new families. Our community partnerships is something that we're very proud of. Our community stands together, and that's never been more evident than through this most recent year. We are very happy with the relationships we have with our families and with our residents, with Auburn Youth and Family Services, Auburn Chamber of Commerce, Town of Auburn, all of its governing boards, Police Department, Fire, Department of Health and Inspectional Services, the Return to School Committee that has been vital in getting us back starting last summer. Meals to Go program, we've had donations from Staples of school supplies, and we really look forward to getting back to our in-person community partnerships with Auburn Life Care Center, the Lodge at Eddy Pond, and other initiatives that we have going on here in the town. So some assumptions and projections that we've made for this FY22 budget. The House 1 number or Governor Baker's number is what we've used for the state number. The Chapter 70 has increased slightly over FY21. Right now it's $78,000 or so over this current fiscal year. We're using the town administration's projection of a 2.75% increase on the town side. We're not adding new staff at this time. However, it's imperative that we keep our current staff so that we can work to get our students caught up both academically, but also to assess where they are socially and emotionally. We're seeing some of that now, some of the needs that our kids have, and this is going to continue, far into the future. Now, that being said, there are emerging needs that always could change this statement. We could, require additional staffing for a variety of reasons, but right now we're not adding any new staff as this budget currently stands. All of our supply lines and buildings are level funded. Our October 1st student counts were used in terms of students at each grade level to ensure consistent data was utilized in creation of our Chapter 70 number from the state. We've used level funded grant monies from the 240 grant, otherwise known as the IDEA grant, Title I grant, and the Title IIA grant as offsets to reduce the impact of the operating budget. We are projecting a Medicaid reimbursement at $150,000 as approved at the annual town meeting. We're also using any anticipated carryover funds from previous years if available. We are anticipating a special education circuit breaker reimbursement of $304,457. And we will continue our school choice program with the current seats allotted at 100, but we will review that number in the next month. School choice applications actually just closed March 31st. So we'll be looking at available seats in our district and numbers of applications that have come in. Our instructional assistants and our applied behavioral analysis instructional assistants have been noted in their current assignments, although movement is certain to occur to meet student needs. As was the case in FY21, we budgeted for 11 regular education school buses, making the assumption that the same number of students will ride the buses planned for this year. That number has been fairly consistent over the last several years. We will also go with the assumption that the bus fee is continuing as currently in place, with $100,000 of revenue being used as an offset to the budget. We're also utilizing other offsets and revolving accounts, including building rentals, satellite and galaxy accounts, building rental accounts, as well as the preschool and athletic revolving accounts. Oil pricing has been procured for FY22 at $1.69 per gallon, which will provide a savings of roughly $13,000 to the budget compared with the current fiscal year. Excuse me. The solar panels on the roofs of AMS and AHS that were installed in early spring of 2020, we've budgeted conservatively for any financial return we may see for FY22, as we don't have a full year's worth of data yet to project approximate annual savings. And so all of our projected offsets together total $2,555,967. And as it states here, those offsets are included in this budget. So the total budget request for fiscal year 2022 is $27,988,540.45. This represents a 0.99% or $312,485 increase over the June town meeting approved amount of $27,676,055. And this also represents a 2.89% increase or $785,382.45 increase over the approved October town meeting amount of $27,214,157. If people recall, it was necessary for us to turn down the original appropriated number in June due to the state not funding the Student Opportunities Act, as well as a slight decrease in local revenue on the town side. That's what led to the decrease in number that was ultimately adopted by town meeting in October. So I thank you, as always, for your support. We couldn't do it without all of you that are here tonight, as well as out in the listening public. Again, if you want to view the budget in its entirety, it is available at our website, auburn.k12.ma.us. And if you go to the district tab and click on budget, you will see the line items by school and by department. And you will see the broader presentation, as I stated at the outset of my mini presentation this evening. And then there's also a letter there to town meeting, but also it's really for the residents as well, that explains, the budget process in a very contracted manner. So as we continue on in the hearing, each member of the leadership team will read their total department or building cost, depending on their role in the school district. After each department or building cost is read, we will pause if there is a question, and we'll be happy to entertain those. And then at the conclusion, of the recitation of all departments and buildings, we will pause for questions for a final time before a motion is made to close the hearing. So with that said, let me share my screen. It's nice to see that you're all still there. And we will begin. So first in order, Mrs. Cecilia Wisbicki, Central Office.
The total district-wide central administration costs in the budget are $3,008,130.66.
Thank you. Are there any questions about that? No. Okay, moving on. Dr. Elizabeth Chamberlain, Assistant Superintendent for Teaching, Learning, Curriculum, and Preschool Principal.
Good evening, everyone. The total cost for teaching, learning, and curriculum is $108,500, and our total preschool costs total $558,671.86. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chamberlain. Mrs. Rosemary Reedy, our Director of Pupil Services.
Good evening, everyone. The total program cost for the Pupil Services Department is $2,138,820.52.
Questions on that? Seeing none. Mr. Joseph Fahey, Director of Facilities for the Auburn Public Schools.
Good evening, everybody. Our total budget is $281,255.00. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fahey. Are there questions on that? No, seeing none. Mr. Eric Bouvier, Auburn Public Schools Director of Technology.
Good evening. The Director of Technology costs are $188,146.20. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bouvier. Are there any questions for Mr. Bouvier? Seeing none, we will now move to Mrs. Marie Mahan, Principal of Bryn Mawr Elementary School.
Good evening, everyone. Total building cost for Bryn Mawr Elementary School is $2,396,137.43. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mahan. Are there any questions for Mrs. Mahan? Seeing none. Mrs. Jennifer Stanek, principal of the Packagug Elementary School.
Good evening, everyone. The total building costs for Packagug Elementary School are $2,092,228.16. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Stanek. Is there any questions for Mrs. Stanek? Seeing none, we will move to Dr. Susan Lopez, principal of the Swanson Road Intermediate School.
Good evening. The total building cost for the Swanson Road Intermediate School is $4,735,421.92. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lopez. Any questions for Dr. Lopez? Seeing none, we will move to Mr. Greg Desto, principal of the Auburn Middle School.
Good evening. Total building costs for Auburn Middle School will be $5,094,261.97.
Thank you, Mr. Desto. Any questions for Mr. Desto? Seeing none, we will move to Auburn High School principal, Mr. Daniel DeLongchamp, who will also be reading the district athletics and fine arts budget numbers.
Good evening, everyone. Total building costs for Auburn High School, $6,858,647.23. Total programs costs for athletics and fine arts, $528,319.50. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. DeLongchamp. Are there any questions for Mr. DeLongchamp? No, seeing none. So thank you all, everyone, for providing that information. Just to wrap up, the presentation portion of this. Again, as I stated at the conclusion of my overview, the total budget request for fiscal year 22 is $27,988,540.45. It's a 0.99% request or increase request over June 20. And it's a 2.89% increase over the special town fall meeting. This is a budget that has been endorsed by both town administration and the select board. It's also been endorsed by the finance committee. We are pleased with the budget in its current form. We don't anticipate there being any changes, although we are waiting for the final numbers to come out of the House and Senate, which probably won't come out until June or so. But we're not anticipating any major increases in Chapter 70 from Beacon Hill. But that being said, the asterisk is always, you never know. We're not in the halls there every day, but what we do know is that we have a budget here that is well constructed and provides ample monies to allow us to move forward and deliver the quality of education that we've been giving our students in Auburn for quite some time. So we're proud of this budget. We also feel that it is a budget that is fiscally responsible toward the taxpayers in Auburn. And it's also mindful of the fact that there are other departments in town that also have needs as well. And not that, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, our first priority is to advocate for our faculty, staff, but most importantly, our students. But we also have to be mindful of the fact that, we're part of a greater whole in the town of Auburn. And we're certainly mindful of that, with this budget. So if there are any other questions, we'll certainly take those now. Otherwise, Mr. Chair, we could seek a motion to close the hearing.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, I would entertain the motion to close tonight's public hearing on the FY 2022 budget.
I'll make that motion. Dorothy Kaufman, I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Megan McCrellis, I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote. Mrs. Holloway, Dr. McCrillis?
Yes. Gail Holloway, yes.
Thank you. Dr. McCrillis?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaufman?
Yes.
Mrs. Harrington?
Yes.
And Mr. Scobie? Yes, that is a vote. The public hearing has concluded. Thank you all. So, should we bid them a good evening, Dr. Hanfield, or is it?
Yes, 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 Mr. Chair, thank you. There's only one other agenda item, and that's your favorite part of every meeting, Mrs. Wisbicki and her budget update. So unless people are really burning to stay on and watch that, they're eating. So
it's prime time, I'm telling you.
It is. Thank you all, everyone, very much. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Prey.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to spice things up a little bit with the business and financial report.
Well, I didn't want to let a meeting go by without having a budget update. You know, we have to have a year-to-date budget every
I thank you for that.
So I have in front of you in your packet a year-to-date budget report dated April 8th, 2021 with the current budget status. And I have a listing of transfers between different series. There's basically one big transfer between different series. And I need your approval on that. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
I would entertain that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Was that?
Second it, Gail Holloway.
Mrs. Kaufman and Mrs. Holloway for the second.
Yes.
All right. Any questions or comments?
I just, through the chair, just one quick question. Just wondering about the police detail at the school, you know, for traffic. Is that coming out of our budget, or how does that work? Or is that going to be a big cost?
So through the,
I'm guessing they'll be there till the.
Yeah. So through the chair, what we've been doing is working with the town to have the police details present at buildings through the use of our CARES Act money. So we've been able to.
Oh, okay, great.
We've been able to fund it through grant money. We're in the process now. As a matter of fact, we're meeting about it this morning. We're in the process now of assessing, you know, the need, the continued need for a police presence at each of our buildings to help with traffic flow. We definitely are in agreement around the table that we need to have continued police presence at Swanson Road, probably through the rest of the school year, due to the nature of the traffic there. But we're not so sure that would be the case in other buildings. But either way, you know, part of the grant monies that have been coming from Washington, you know, that's what some of those monies are for, to handle these things that occur outside of the operating budget. So, we're set to meet with town administration in the coming days to just kind of review where we are with that and work through it. But if we need to continue it, you know, we have no problem doing that. But we've already committed to doing it at Swiss, and we'll see where we are with the other buildings at the end of the week.
Well, thank you. That's great.
Any other comments or questions?
I have one question that has nothing to do with anything we've talked about. So if you have time for it.
Why don't we
like
close out this vote, and then I will have you have either Cecilia or Dr. Hanfield answer that question. Okay, so we have a second. We've had some discussion. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Mrs. Harrington?
Yes.
Dr. McCrillis?
Yes.
Mrs. Kaufman?
Yes.
Mrs. Holloway?
Yes.
And Mr. Scobie, yes. That is a vote.
Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you for that report. And Mrs. Holloway, you wanted to ask a question?
This has to do with the tents or canopies the children are sitting under.
Yes.
Are the children sitting on the ground, or are they in chairs?
No, there are chairs there. There are tables as well. I know some teachers and students, like the classroom, they prefer sitting on the ground in some cases, but there are ample chairs and tables there for kids to have their lunch or to have their class or to do whatever that they need to do. Mr. Fahey was diligent in making sure that there were ample chairs. We're actually using the chairs that we had purchased some years ago to put out a graduation. We were able to save money there by deploying those chairs out at schools around the district. So there should be plenty of chairs in all of those areas.
We also, the chair, we also purchased some new cafeteria tables as well, so that they could have some outside seating as well for lunches and that type of thing too. So
The only reason I'm asking is, and it's a long time ago now, 25 years ago this week, my daughter was sitting on the ground at a athletic meet, and she got bit by a tick. We didn't know it, and she got Lyme disease, and it affected the quality of her life from then on.
Sure.
So I wouldn't encourage students to sit on the ground, a towel or something.
Sure.
Because they really haven't found a cure for this.
No.
And it was a nightmare trying to get her treated.
That's a great point. That's an excellent point. Ticks. I can remember once I sat on a bee, and it bit. You can imagine where it went. So yeah, I think you raise a great point. I think if children are going to choose to sit on the ground, that they need to be mindful of sitting on something. So Dr. Chamberlain and I will raise that with the principals tomorrow, but that's a great point.
Because the
chair, I think
I was just going to say the ticks
some
are
of
out
us,
now.
one of my kids had to bring a towel in. Yeah, so they have a lot of the kids bring towels in to sit on at least at Swanson. They're doing that. So
we've also purchased yoga mats as well. There's been several orders of yoga mats for Bryn Mawr, Packagug, and Swanson. So those are some things that I think the teachers are using as well. So.
Sure, but yeah, but we will definitely follow up to make sure that they're sitting on something.
Good. I mean, her college essay was titled 27 Hospitals and 100 Doctors Later. And that's what it took to get answers. So I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Yeah, no, a great point. So thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you for that, Mrs. Holloway.
You're welcome.
And Dr. Hanfield, thank you for the visual.
I have a question through the chair. Do we spray the property at all?
We do have, we do have pest management come in. Matter of fact, we have to every year we have to have on file the spray that we use and to make sure that it complies with EPA and OSHA standards. So yes, we do spray. But that being said, it's still, we put down mouse traps in our buildings and we still find mice. So so I mean, it's a good service that we have, the pest control service. But I think Mrs. Holloway's point is a great one in terms of just that additional layer, of security, which to make sure that they're not sitting on, just their backsides with nothing in between. So
good, thank you.
Thank you again. Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. If there's nothing else, Dr. Hanfield?
No, Mr. Chair, thank you. That's it for this evening.
Okay. Could I have that motion? Don't fight over it.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second, Gail Holloway.
Second from Mrs. Holloway. Roll call vote. Mrs. Harrington.
Yes.
Mrs. Kaufman.
Yes.
Mrs. Holloway.
Yes.
Dr. McCrillis. She says yes. And
yes.
Mr. Scobie is a yes. That is a
Right.
vote. And that's the end of tonight's meeting. Thank you all, and have a wonderful night.
And enjoy April vacation.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I think
Thank you.
Take care.
We are adjourned.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Great job.